This is the Emergency Communications Training Net. Good evening. My name is Jerry, and my call sign is WB4EMC. I'm located in Waxhaw, North Carolina, and I'll be the net control operator for this net. The purpose of this net is to train on emergency communication procedures, communications equipment, communication modes, and the National Incident Management System, which is also known by NIMS. Okay, before we get started, is there any emergency communications, traffic, or any announcements? If so, call WB4EMC or Net Control. Okay, hearing none, I do have one announcement, and those who are receiving Echolink by their desktop computer or laptop computer or a big iPad, I know y'all may notice down in the message box I put down not to forget to change your clocks. In other words, set your clocks ahead 1 hour before you go to bed this evening. I can't believe it. We're already at daylight savings time. So it seemed like the standard time went by pretty quickly. Okay, that's the only announcement I have this evening. I want to recognize the stations that are in the net. The first station is K4EAE, Don. The next station is Josh, that's KF4YRR. And also we have KD9er, Juliet Delta Delta, Billy, in Goshen, Indiana. And also the net is, please recognize KB4GKI, Jimmy. And also another Jerry here, that's KB0 Delta Oscar Golf. All right, saying that, tonight, basically last Saturday night, we did an introduction on WinLink. So tonight, instead of staying on the digital mode, we're going to do the finished WinLink next Saturday night. So please tune in for that. But tonight, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I might be preaching to the all those who already know about this, but we are also streaming live on YouTube right now, so maybe some of the word is getting out. This past week, I've been having people question me and asking me, what is emergency management? I was shocked when I was hearing those questions. I figured that everybody knew what emergency management is. Apparently, they do not. So even employers don't know what emergency management is, and when we have to deploy, sometimes they don't see it as an emergency. So I see that our work is laid out before us, and we need to get the word out and let people know the value of emergency management. This is WB4EMC. Back in 2015, there was actually a survey that was done, and believe it or not, there was 60% of the people that were surveyed did not know what emergency management is, and apparently I think it's just carrying on over today. Okay, so what is emergency management? Okay, emergency management is a component of the Department of Homeland Security, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and FEMA is an independent agency of Department of Homeland Security. So, under the Department of Homeland Security umbrella, you might say, you have if this is the best way to describe it, a sub-agency, which is FEMA, which is Federal Emergency Management Agency. Okay, responding to basically the federal government, the purpose of emergency management and with FEMA is to respond to all aspects of natural and man-made disasters. Okay, continuing on, FEMA and the emergency management system was created back in 1979 by an executive order. Basically, that was Jimmy Carter, the President Jimmy Carter. And FEMA today employs some 2,600 people at its headquarters in Washington, D.C., and at sites across the nation. Okay, everybody thought that FEMA and emergency management really started, or the roots started back in 1979. That is wrong. This surprised me as I did some research on it today. Believe it or not, the beginnings start as early in 1803. Congressional Act authorizing assistance to a New Hampshire fire or town that was inundated by fire. So the government started stepping in, helping out towns that a disaster had hit, and really they were overcome by the disaster. Over the next century and a quarter, more than hundreds of pieces of legislations were passed in response to floods, hurricanes.
And it's good to see everybody on the net tonight, and I hope everybody's having a good weekend. This is Billy, KD9er JDD. We're monitoring.
KD9er Juliet Delta Delta. This is B4EMC. Well, good to have you on the net this evening, Billy. And those who are listening on YouTube, if you notice interruption, I got a notification that for some odd reason the broadcast program stopped, but it restarted again. So if that's what you're noticing, that's what happened. Sorry about that.